Arsenal are under pressure after defeat against Inter Milan in the Champions League. 3 league games without a win. Sunday brings a trip to Stamford Bridge that is seen as must-win. So today we'll get all the breaking team news ahead of the game, find out what's happening with Declan Rice, break down what happened in the game against Inter Milan, discuss all the reports regarding Arsenal's new potential sporting director, and find out about the signings that Arsenal are potentially planning for January 2025. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Basketball Team. Welcome back to your boys channel, and I hope you guys are doing sensational. From Inter Milan to breaking news regarding a new sporting director, we've got so much to break down. So as per, smash a like if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new, helping your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. We're starting off with the Champions League struggle. Now going to the San Siro, where against the Inter Milan side that are reigning Serie A champions, Simeone Inzaghi, an elite manager rated so high in Europe, a side that was yet to concede a single Champions League goal at home this season. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal huffed and puffed, as shown by the XG of 2.19 to Inter's 1.2, a field tilt of 79%, and a second half for Arsenal the completely dominant side. We're talking 71% possession, 1.59 XG, and 2 big chances created. I've seen a lot of praise for Inter Milan after the game because the defending was amazing, but at the same time they only had one shot on target all game, that of course being the penalty. As great as they are as defending, going forwards they had next to no impact whatsoever. In terms of goal probability added, you had Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka and Trossard leading for Arsenal, while it was a completely different story for Inter Milan. It may have been another defeat, but I won't go as far as saying this was a poor performance, more a poor result and the misery compiled. With even Mikel Arteta saying after the game, I'm very proud of my players. The level of domination that we had, we were very harshly done by in the sense that is obvious. Both penalties, if you're going to give a penalty, the other one has to be because he punches him in his head. We'll talk about the decisions, but more importantly, we have to talk about the Arsenal attack. Not a single goal from an XG of over 2, attempting 46 crosses in the game, the most since their 3-2 victory over Bournemouth in March 2023. This game once again highlighted our problem when it comes to playing centrally. You focus on the performance of Leandro Trossard, a 7.2 rating in 82 minutes, 1 successful dribble and 2 key passes. He's come under a lot of criticism recently. Now 7 Arsenal games without a goal, for a player that scored 17 last season and was so clutch. In the absence of Martin Odegaard, Mikel Arteta has turned to Trossard as his central solution. Because when you look at his profile and the fact that he's so comfortable in tight spaces, on paper it made sense, but in reality it's been a different story. For me, what I see in Trossard is the perfect 12th man. An impact player coming off the bench against tired legs, under certain game states where Arsenal need a goal and a deadly finisher. But when you ask him to be the central link and combine the play, provide security in the final third like a Martin Odegaard, that's not the profile of Trossard, it's more the profile of Ethan Nwaneri. Coming on in this game once again and showing in the final 10 minutes, more central threat than Trossard provided all game. The prime example when he picked that ball up right towards the end, spun his man, and produced a shot centrally. For all the sideways passing left to right Saka to Martinelli, what Arsenal have lacked the most in Odegaard's absence is the player that can collect the ball in the middle. Breakthrough teams are the most vulnerable. In football, that area is known as zone 14, just outside the box centrally. That's where these numbers here become very intriguing. With Arsenal producing 2.29 zone 14 passes this season per game, less than the likes of Leicester, Ipswich and Bournemouth, compared to Man City 7.12 right at the top. Where Arsenal and City both come up against low blocks, the City players have shown more bravery on the ball to pick the pass through the middle. Arsenal, without their main captain and progressor, not giving Ethan Nwaneri a chance from the start, have made their attack far too predictable. But that's where Arsenal have some amazing news. In a game that we saw the official return of the captain Martin Odegaard, he may have played only a few minutes, but the fact that he's back is pivotal. Not only will Arsenal have their most creative player back from last season, but in recent games where we've seen teams force Arsenal out wide, with the return of a player that thrives centrally, we will have another solution against the low blocks. But in a game where I think the performance wasn't that bad, one thing that was really bad for me was the refereeing decisions. From Mikel Merino getting punched in the face by Jan Sommer after the ball was gone, checked by VAR who thought that was perfectly fine, but then given a penalty for this right towards the end of the first half. Mikel Merino jumping for the ball in a natural position, hit by the ball from a yard away, with even Martin Keown saying after the game, is the arm in a natural position? It certainly isn't. It's ruining our game, to be honest. What was Merino meant to do there? Jump with his arms behind his back? Regardless, Inter were given their best chance of the game, their only chance of the game. They took it and it was enough to win it. But for Arsenal themselves, that is our 3 Champions League goals and our 4 Champions League matches this season, one of them being an own goal, and more worryingly away from him in the Champions League in 2024. It's 4 games, 0 wins and 0 goals scored. And when you focus on those away games, you'll see a reoccurring theme. Porto away, Bayern away, Atalanta and Inter, all top sides willing to deploy either a low or mid block. Big Champions League games that Arsenal have yet to make a breakthrough in, despite having the likes of Odegaard in that as well. Maybe it shows a level of fear in these players psychologically, going to these tough away grounds and overthinking stuff. For an Arsenal side that was so fearless in 2022-23, They try to make these games all about the fine margins, and that's perfectly fine if you win the games, but without providing those game-breaking moments that we've seen from City and Liverpool over the past few years, Arsenal are still without a major away win in the Champions League. And speaking before the Chelsea game, as Mikel Arteta said, we don't need a reset, we need one particular aspect to go from 95 to 100, but I'm not going to tell you what this is. I feel like what that is killer instinct. With this philosophy being all about keeping games as close as possible, in these big games you have to be ruthless in front of goal. Where the likes of Vinicius for Real can produce a moment of magic, the Arsenal attack at times seems too structured, too reliant on Mikel's system rather than individual brilliance. It leaves Arsenal in 12th position in the Champions League phase after match day 4, 2 points off the top 8 that guarantees you a last 16 place, with Sporting away, Monaco at home, Zagreb at home and Girona away being our next 4 games. Moving on to Arsenal's new transfer plan. And when we're talking about transfer strategies, the first thing that comes to mind is of course the departure of Edu Gaspar, our long-term sporting director, leaving Arsenal with immediate effects. As Mikel says, Edu leaves and we respect that, but the plan and vision continues here at Arsenal. We have a very strong leadership team and the passion to fulfill this journey. As the team confirms, Edu has bid farewell to Arsenal in a gathering of players and staff at the training ground on Tuesday, and he will now serve a 6-month notice period of gardening leave. Jason Ito steps up on an interim basis, while Arsenal conduct the process to secure a permanent successor. On a 6-month gardening leave, it means that he's still going to get paid by the club, but he won't be doing any work in terms of transfers, instead working under the Nottingham Forest owner Evangelos Marrakenas, not only tripling his pay, but making him the head of his multi-club model, with the clubs like Forest, Olympiacos and Rio Ave. The timing was definitely a surprise, but according to Sami Mokbel, Arsenal actually made a counter-offer to Edu, believed to be comparable to the deal made by Marinikas. However, Edu was determined to take his first steps into the world of multi-club football. It poses the question of, was it the fact that he wanted a new challenge, or was it the fact that he wanted more power? Because according to The Athletic, having grown frustrated with some of the limitations of his role at Arsenal, Edu is expected to have more sanitary powers in Nottingham Forest. Those who know him believe he's seeking more autonomy. At Arsenal, there is now a considerable oversight and a due process on all matters related to transfers, with the example being that Edu agreed to move for Ricardo Calafiori, but the Arsenal board were only prepared to sanction it if a major sale balanced the books. In the end, the club only pushed ahead on Calafiori in July, when Real Madrid emerged as potential rival bidders. A lot of people see that as the fact that the Arsenal board are holding Edu back. But when you look at the Arsenal sales prior to this window, the only ones being Joe Willock and Folarin Balogun, despite consistently spending over £100 million and not having Champions League football, breaking their record in signing Declan Rice. Over his time at Arsenal, a lot of people criticise Edu Gaspar for his lack of ability to get money in for players, alongside a habit of last-minute emergency arrivals. According to The Athletic, Edu and Arteta have always enjoyed an excellent personal relationship, but in recent windows, members of the Arsenal coaching staff have exerted an increasing influence on the first-team recruitment. That came to a head late this summer, when the club found themselves embroiled in a deal for Espanyol goalkeeper Joan Garcia in the final 48 hours of the window, and exasperating Edu had to extricate Arsenal from negotiations and pivot to signing Neto from Bournemouth for loan instead. Regardless, we thank him for his services and Arsenal have to now look for a replacement. And as reported by The Athletic, next week Arsenal's football leadership team led by Mikel Arteta, Richard Garlick and Vice Chair Tim Lewis will meet with the owners of the Kroenkes to outline the squad building plans for 2025, with Jason Ito likely to represent the recruitment department, a man that started at Arsenal as a video analyst, then worked his way up to become Edu's right-hand man. Lastly, he actually became Arsenal's assistant sporting director, soon approaching a very important January transfer window Arsenal have to keep within for now, find a temporary solution and keep themselves stable. Going forwards though, it looks like they might have other targets in mind, one being former Arsenal star Tomas Rosicky, who according to Santiago is a candidate to replace Edu Gaspar as the club's sporting director, a former Arsenal player that of course made over 200 appearances for the club, retiring all the way back in 2015 alongside Mikel Arteta. Since 2018 he's been the sporting director of Sparta Prague, over a time that they have won 5 of 6 Czech League titles. Rosicky has experience in both Arsenal and of course in the directing world, but at a club that his record arrival has only been €6 million and record sale being 5, the question is, could he do the job at Arsenal, with the deals being far bigger and there being a lot more pressure? You've also got more reports regarding Per Mertesacker, the current head of the Arsenal Academy, as a potential candidate to become our sporting director. A lot of talk of former players and some people even claim an Arsene Wenger. For me, what's very important is that Arsenal get the best of the best. It's not about giving former players a role at the club, but more about getting a director that has the highest quality to make Arsenal as good as possible. While the transfer window is soon approaching in terms of potential targets, could also look to a former one in Benjamin Hesco, despite signing a brand new contract at RB Leipzig back in the summer. According to Sami Mokbel, Hesco currently has a buyout clause of £55 million, with the Gunners monitoring his progress closely ahead of the next 2 transfer windows. With 18 goals last year, so far this year we're talking 7 goals and 14 appearances, 3 and 4 in the Champions League. Still only 21 years of age, Hesco has always been a very intriguing physical profile, not only standing at whopping 195cm tall, but the pacing behind to really hurt teams as an outlet. Arsenal wanted him in the summer. There was a lot of reports that a deal was getting closer, but having signed a brand new contract at RB Leipzig, his agent claimed it was all about the player's development. According to Sami Mokbel, Hesco seriously considered joining Arsenal this summer but hesitated because he was unsure he'd secure a regular spot on the starting 11 after the Gunners made it clear that he wouldn't be guaranteed playing time over Kai Havertz. But if we're going to talk about strikers, there's one player that I know Arsenal fans are ready to comment. The hat-trick man against Pep Guardiola's Man City, the most in-demand striker in world football, Viktor Gyokeres of Sporting Lisbon, having helped Sporting get a 4-1 victory over Man City, making it 3 defeats in 3 games for Pep's side, for the first time since April 2018, against a Premier League side producing a 9.1 rating, 3 goals and a 2.41 XG, 5 shots on target and 2 big chances missed. That is now 23 goals and 17 appearances for Gyokeres this season. For me, what this game showed to me was his ability to command and attack. He may miss chances like most top strikers in Europe do, but inside the box is where he comes alive, making space regardless of how he's being marked. It's a profile that a lot of Arsenal fans believe that we really need. With the departure of Ruben Amorim going to Man United, according to reports in Portugal, Gyokeres has snubbed the idea of following him there, and according to reliable Mike McGough, he will be available for a cut price of £63 million. The question becomes, will Arsenal make the move, and will that be in January? With so much pressure building in the fanbase regarding a title, the demand for silverware this season, as shown in past window windows, the money has always been available. £60 million offers for Madrid, £70 million for Moses Caicedo. Had they not spent a major amount of the summer, January is going to be a very intriguing time. But the current focus is going to be all on this Sunday, a game at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, against a side that is currently 4th in the Premier League above Arsenal, with only 2 league defeats all season, that being Man City and Liverpool. In terms of the Arsenal team news, there will still be no Ricardo Calafiori. But what about Declan Rice, not available against Inter Milan? According to Sammy Muckwell, Declan Rice has actually suffered a broken toe, set to be assessed in the next 48 hours. Rice could actually still play against Chelsea on Sunday, particularly given the magnitude of the game following a run of 3 league matches without a win, with even Mikel saying I have to be very vague on that one because there's no clarity if he's going to be fit or not for the weekend. He hasn't trained yet and it's not clear yet whether he's going to be available. The Telegraph claimed the Rice is preparing to push through the pain barrier and attempt to play for both Arsenal and England after breaking his toe. For Arsenal, I get it because it's a must-win game, but I'm not so quite sure about playing for England. This could also be a game where we see the returning Martin Odegaard back in the starting 11. Having made his official return against Inter Milan, Odegaard is fit and available, with many fans predicting a start because Arsenal need to win this game. For Chelsea, a major doubt is going to be Cole Palmer, who Enzo Maresca confirmed was not able to train, not available in the game against FC Noah. Star player they have, and in terms of Chelsea, they're going to have a lot of respect. A far better side than last season under a new manager Enzo Maresca. Not only are they above Arsenal, but with Lavia and Caicedo midfield, the battle against Rice and Partey could be pivotal. But they've also got a bit of vengeance on mind, having lost 5-0 at the Emirates last season, embarrassed by former player Kai Havertz. The Chelsea manager has fired a warning to Arsenal and insists there will be no rolling over, like the last time the clubs met, as Chelsea feel ready to go to war. Without a win against Arsenal since August 2021, having not been Arsenal at Stamford Bridge since August 2018, Chelsea has been one of Mikel Arteta's favourite opponents, the side that he beat in the FA Cup final 2020, alongside keeping his job alive late in December 2020, with a very important 3-1 victory. It is a game that is seen by many Arsenal fans as one of Mikel Arteta's biggest in a while. 3 league games without a win, 7 points off top place Liverpool. Despite breaking so many records for Arsenal in the Premier League last season, our most ever goals, 89 points. With no major trophies since 2020, there is definitely a lot of demand growing in the Arsenal fan base. Mikel has definitely earned a lot of grace as an Arsenal manager, making Arsenal competitive like we've not seen in a very long time. A win this Sunday for me is an absolute must, a chance to reignite our season and get ourselves back into that title race. As Mikel Arteta said before the game, nobody wants to win more than me. It's impossible. That is a video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow boy on his social medias, then the links are down in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today. I have a massive game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. It is a must win. There's a lot of pressure, but they say pressure makes diamonds, and we'll see if this Arsenal team has what it takes to get the win. So as per, I'll see you next time. Take care. Habits.